Okay, good morning. I just went through the first practice prose essays that you completed on Thursday and gave everybody a score out of a 6-point rubric. So if you received a 3 out of 6, that does not mean that you get a 50%. It's a tough rubric, and we'll talk about the thesis point and the sophistication point as we go forward. But I want to take a look at the prompt and talk about how important it is to understand keywords in the prompt and what the prompt is asking you to do. So it says, the following selection is the opening of Ann Petrie's 1946 novel, The Street. Read the selection carefully and then write an essay analyzing how Petrie establishes Lutie Johnson's relationship to the urban setting. So a lot of you said that the urban setting was dirty and dangerous, but you didn't talk about Lutie Johnson's relationship to it. A lot of people talked about how it was very windy and there was a lot of trash and grit and grime blowing around, but shied away from taking a position or establishing a line of reasoning about how Lutie is sort of set up as a foil to it, or how it's an antagonistic relationship. So you have to be really kind of courageous and, put your, stake your ground in a pretty assertive statement of your position, a defensible thesis, okay? Through the use of such literary devices as imagery, personification, selection of detail, and figurative language. Well, obviously, that's a little redundant because personification is a brand of figurative language. Most of you dealt with, 3 of the 4, which is more than adequate. So now I want to point you to another link that I put with the assignment, and this is the scoring guidelines, and then there are some student samples, okay? So I'm just going to read you. This is based on the old 9-point rubric, but it still has a lot of relevance here. So we're just going to read the description of a 9-8 essay. So a 9 is really kind of a unicorn. 7s and 8s are definitely within all of your means. A 9 is like, I tear my clothes and weep. So a 9-8 would be an essay that offers a persuasive analysis of Petrie's use of literary devices to establish Lutie Johnson's relationship to the urban setting and provides strong support for the student's interpretation of the passage. So it's a persuasive analysis. They explore the urban setting as it affects the character, consider devices such as, etc., and engage the text through apt and specific references. Although the essays may not be error-free, their perceptive analysis is apparent in writing that is clear, precise, and effectively organized. And then they talk about the sophistication, okay? So if you read down here, we're just going to read this first, partly because it's difficult handwriting, but I'm just going to read the opening paragraph of this student sample. In this excerpt from Ann Petrie's The Street, the wind is the central antagonist. So that is a very assertive statement, right? That is a direct making of a claim. The narrator efficiently utilizes a third-person omniscient narrator, a little redundant, to relay to the reader the bitterness of the cold, along with the steadfast determination of Lutie Johnson. Through the use of chillingly descriptive imagery and vivid personification, the narrator successfully conveys the unmerciful nature of the cold to enhance Lutie Johnson's temporal and sensory experiences. So this essay, and I'm just kind of scrolling through here, and you can access this through that assignment in the Google Classroom. It's linked there for you. You see how the analysis is kind of peppered with textual evidence, right? So this essay actually earned an 8. So despite the fact that in this opening paragraph there's a little bit of redundancy, but they are taking a position, right? Central antagonist, unmerciful nature of the cold, right? So what I'd like you to do for the next practice is take a look when you get your essay back, read the comments, look at, in the rubric that I attached there, look at the qualities of like the development and support section. Like look at the things that they're asking you to do in order to earn a 4 out of 4 for that, or a 1 or a 0 for thesis, or a 1 or a 0 for sophistication. So going forward, we're going to break this down a little bit, and I'm going to post a prompt, a prose prompt, but the only thing I want you to do is to compose a thesis statement. You're going to establish a line of reasoning, and it can be more than one sentence. It can be a short paragraph. And so that is your task for the next couple of days. Please email me if you have any questions. Thanks.